There's something unsettling about Teyvat. On the surface, Genshin Impact looks like a cozy adventure game, but what if I told you that there are some scary events that have happened that you probably missed out on or haven't heard of yet? Today, we will be diving into the creepiest Genshin Impact events. Quick disclaimer that there will be mentions of suicide and phasmophobia. With that being said, let's get started. One day, a Russian player downloaded Genshin from a strange website. The player logged in with Diona and noticed a strange figure on the statue of the Seven. Ayato, Faceless, is standing in the distance. The player tries logging back in, but this time, a different character is seen in plain sight. 𝗃𝗏. 𝗃𝗏 is pushing Ayato off the mountain. The player checks the Diona stats and sees that Diona's description was changed to a riddle. The riddle reads, "This riddle must be solved by the creature which is ready for hard and long path to truth. To get the key from certain memory, find me." Is it the tree in Mondstadt? They were right. Ayato is again faceless, worshipping the tree. Another day passes and the player visits Mondstadt once again. Ayato is kneeling down at the graveyard. At this point, the player tries deleting the Ayato game files, but for some reason, the files can't be deleted. A lot of the people in the comments in the video suggested that the player should check Ayato's description. In doing so, there is another riddle. Quote, "This riddle must be solved by the creature which is ready for a hard and long path. Help the whole world discover the truth." That was not suicide. Help me. The player goes to the spot and 𝗃𝗏 is faceless and they suspect that 𝗃𝗏 is guarding something there. The player keeps running and Ayato is sitting down and looks to be a prisoner of whatever is happening. Out of nowhere, 𝗃𝗏 suddenly teleports in front of Ayato and the player beaming with orange light. The player visits back to Mondstadt and Ayato is talking to Donna, this time 2 dialogue options with Ayato. "Who are you and I have to go." The player picks "Who are you?" and Ayato says something about the player having to be the guardian of the key and then he leaves. The player then decides to read 𝗃𝗏 and Ayako's description. 𝗃𝗏 reads this: "The figure that took away the most important thing, my life. I want to tell the truth, he killed me." Ayako's description reads, my brother, where is he? I will take revenge on whoever did this to him," my sister said. There's also a note detailing the detective's findings on Ayato's death and how they suspected his best friend 𝗃𝗏. The next time Ayato is seen is in the library with 𝗃𝗏 and Raiden Shogun, which they both appear to be fighting. In the next video, the player is in Inazuma. The player states it looks like Raiden is controlling 𝗃𝗏 and 𝗏𝗏. The player suspects that under the control of the Shogun, 𝗃𝗏 killed Ayato. I guess my girl 𝗏𝗏 is there to suspect what's happening. The player then begins reading the description of Miko and Thoma. Miko telling A not to tell 𝗏𝗏 to bury Ayato, and Thoma is going through files to prove that 𝗃𝗏 killed Ayato, but something stopped him. In the next video, the player believes Ayato looks like a kid and finds a diary that reads, Ayato's diary. Many chapters, many stories, but one interests you. Friendship with 𝗃𝗏, July 29th, 2006. It was already late at night, but I suddenly heard a scream. I immediately ran to the window and I saw my best friend. He was being dragged by adults with white clothes. He resisted and as a result dragged into a white room. I heard, "I don't want to go to the doctor." I never saw him again. The rest has been torn. Ayato is then seen with Ayaka in the Kamisato estate and they are both stealing candy. We can see Ayaka has her face. There's also a note that is about how the Kamisato siblings would steal candy for 𝗃𝗏, who was at hospital during this time. The player's conclusion with this is that if you don't have a face, you are dead. In the last video, the player enters Jean's office where they are greeted with a faceless Jean and Zhongli, alongside a note that basically reads 𝗃𝗏 is on antidepressants and he's a candidate for an experiment. The player enters into the library and sees both a faceless 𝗃𝗏 and Gigi, and a new note is discovered that talks about a ghost in the hospital and the sender being able to survive. 𝗏𝗏 is a ghost NPC from a tribe in Tsurumi Island. He was also fond of singing, and his singing captivated the local deity, the thunderbird Kana Carpenter, who paid no attention to the island's people. The situation on 𝗄𝗵𝘁 Island had gotten worse, and because of that, 𝗴𝗲 is chosen to be sacrificed to Kana by his own tribe by the priestess and elders. The priest chose him since the thunderbird took most interest in 𝗴𝗲. 𝗴𝗲 agreed to this because he wanted the best for his tribe. His tribe believed sacrificing 𝗴𝗲 would earn the bird's blessing. After his friends find out, they begin to leave the island and move to 𝗄𝗏 Island. The ceremony begins, 𝗴𝗲 is sacrificed, and his blood fills the ritual goblet. Kana finds 𝗴𝗲 from his singing, and she finds 𝗴𝗲's body on the altar. Kana becomes furious and destroys the entire tribe and curses the island and people until she will be able to hear 𝗴𝗲 singing again. The red fog on 𝗄𝗵𝘁 Island you see is the result of the destruction of the perches and the anger and sorrow of the thunderbird and the accumulation of the curse affecting the island. 𝗴𝗲 was unaffected by the curse that affected the other villages, as he could see and hear everything around him. Years later, Kana was hunted down as a monster and killed by Raiden A. Because of that, there's a time loop repeating the ceremony over and over again. 𝗴𝗲 also sacrificed Israel repeatedly, the loop repeating 1,000 times and 𝗴𝗲 dying and suffering 1,000 times or more. The villagers said they could hear 𝗴𝗲 screaming or shouting in agony as the sacrificial ceremony kept looping on. 𝗴𝗲 was peeled alive, and then they removed his bones and draining his blood and putting it in a goblet. This was proven in the Chinese translation in the 𝗴𝗿𝗃 artifact set. I'm not going to spoil the rest of the quest, but the 𝗴𝗿𝗃 artifact set gives a great description of the quest itself. The Sun Children were the puppet rulers of 𝗵𝗄𝗵𝘁. There are 7 Sun Children who are found as ghosts. The genshinimpact, which is the artificial sun that was created in the disk by 𝗴𝗲, chose a child to be the Sun Child and rule over the land. Their tragic fate was to be sacrificed in a ritual called the Rite of Solar Return. See, as they were children, the Sun Children could not rule completely, and were instead manipulated to commit heinous deeds as the nobles who controlled them profited from their misrule. Because of this, the Sun Children would become hated by the people of 𝗵𝗄𝗵𝘁, who scapegoated them and blamed them for their ignorance, even though the 𝗵𝗄𝗵𝘁 people were aware that the Sun Children were being manipulated. The nobles knew that as the Sun Children would grow into adults, they would eventually realize they were being manipulated. To prevent this, the nobles established a ceremony called the Rite of Solar Return. When a sun child reached a certain age, they would be taken to the inner sanctum of the genshinimpact, where they would be incinerated by the artificial sun high temperatures, burned alive under the gaze of returning to the deity. During the time of 𝗴𝗲, the first sun child, 𝗴𝗲 realized the truth of the system the nobles had established and opposed them. In response, the nobles simply convinced 𝗴𝗲 that 𝗴𝗲 wanted to kill him and seize his seat, had him accuse 𝗴𝗲 of high treason, then imprison him under house arrest in the genshinimpact for life. The sabzeruz festival is a festival in Sumeru that celebrates the birth of the listed Lord Kusanari. The festival is named after the deceased goddess of flowers. This festival was meant to be a calm celebration, but instead turned out to be a nightmare, literally. The gacha system is a Sumeru device created by the greater Lord 𝗴𝗲 and powered by the danger archon's gnosis to share knowledge which is worn by the people in Sumeru. The gacha was later repurposed by the sages to put everyone in Sumeru city to sleep and trap them in a cycle of the same day. This caused a dream loop. It was not a physical time loop, but rather a mental one where people's memories are erased at the end of each day, causing them to repeat the same events without realizing it. The loop was centered around Nilou and her performance of the dance of sabzeruz, as she held the strongest memory for the festival to happen. The sages were stealing dreams and needed dream power so that they could create a new god, in this case, 𝗵𝗵𝘁, since in order for him to become a new god of wisdom, he needs knowledge and the wisdom. So the sages were taking people's information, knowledge, and other data through their gacha to load into 𝗵𝗵𝘁. The movie of Hongye tells us about the unpleasant smell from the well, as if something was rotting. An investigation begins, and in order to avoid an epidemic, the people are asked to take water from a different well. In the end, it turns out the cause of the water pollution was the corpse of a young woman in the river who committed suicide. The man outside Booba's pharmacy actually says she took her life because he wouldn't allow her to marry the man she loved. Her name was 𝗵𝗁, and of course this man happens to be 𝗵𝗁's dad. But it doesn't end there, because it turns out she's still alive. What? This is just my theory, probably the most obvious, that 𝗵𝗁 faked her death to get away from her dad, since her dad is against her being with the man she loves. The man she's with, could it be the man that her dad doesn't like and that she's dating? Or did she hire or beg for a random man to escort her away from her dad? But the body in the well is my biggest concern. Whose body is it? Currently, we have no idea, and we might never know. The 𝗴𝗲𝗰𝘁, now abandoned, used to be a hospital that specialized in treating patients with eleazar. Old hospital notes found at the site also suggest that one doctor was using the patients as test subjects for dangerous experimental treatments. 𝗵𝗵𝘁 is a 23-year-old farmer who had a serious case of eleazar. He had scabs all over his body and poor mobility. During week 3 of hospitalization, he fell into a coma. This aligns with what Tighnari said about eleazar.
In its final stages, the disease strips a person of the ability to control their own body, and they effectively become completely immobile.
It is suspected that 𝗃𝗃 is the doctor that treated 𝗵𝗵𝘁. 𝗃𝗃's treatment, which is likely an injection of archon residue, much like what he did to 𝗃𝗃, had previously been done on Spectrum 1. He got better at first, but due to blank not being complete, his condition worsened and he eventually died. 𝗃𝗃 then learned of a new method of treatment he tried on Spectrum 2 and 3, but they both died during stage 2 of the treatment. 𝗵𝗵𝘁 finally escaped, and he got away when 𝗃𝗃 wasn't there, as it was 𝗵𝗁𝘁's shift that day. 𝗵𝗵𝘁 escaped underground below the hospital. He survived off eating grass and lizards underground. 𝗵𝗵𝘁 mentioning God's voice guides me is similar to 𝗃𝗃 having voices in her head because of the archon residue. Just like most games, a player can encounter a glitch or bug inside the game. There isn't much information on this one, but a player was playing a quest, which I assume is one of the Dragon Spine events, and Albedo just looks like he came back from the back rooms or something. His head is tilted and his appearance has completely changed. That is all I have for this video. I couldn't fit everything in this video, so if you would like a part 2 or want me to talk about a specific event or a thing, please let me know in the comments below. With that being said, please subscribe and like, and tell me what your favorite thing in this video was. Bye bye!